Alright, what's going on, guys? Moxification here. So today, I fancy doing this video. The reason I've wanted to do this video is I mentioned it in a stream that I was doing about less than a week ago. I'm not too sure how long ago, but a couple of days ago. I mentioned it in a stream, but I didn't fully say what it was. But I said, I'd wanted to do a video on this for a bit, and I thought it'd be a cool difference. Usually I don't know, maybe but whatever I do in terms of videos, I can't really think of stuff off the top of my head, but usually it's I'll do a video on a mod menu or whatever, but this has a difference, and it's more of a story, or actually there's two stories, but they're like real life events, but within modding. So I've got two modding fails, and I thought it'd be a cool thing to do because I don't really touch up on these sort of events. I have done stuff in the past, I've done stuff like the what did I do? I did the top 5 mods ever made. I've done a few different bits and mobs like that. But this is it's a different sort of thing to do. So in the background, we've got GTA. It's just me driving around in a car. It is live. I'm currently using the legacy menu, but I doubt I'll need to bring it up at any point. But if I do, then I will. But yeah, so I'm just driving around on this. I'm talking while I'm playing. But yeah, so eventually as well, I thought I'd mention, if I do ever do anything like this again, which I'm sure I will, maybe I'll put some different gameplay behind. Maybe I won't do GTA. Usually I do GTA or Trials Evolution, but maybe I'll fancy putting gameplay like Rust or CSGO or Call of Duty PC. What was it? What's that game called? There's a game that I like playing, COD Jumper on Modern Warfare, not Modern Warfare 2, just COD 4. I totally forgot what the game was called. I don't know how I forgot what Modern Warfare was called. But yeah, so basically COD Jumper on Modern Warfare. But yeah, so on PC as well, just I mentioned. And yeah, so maybe I'll put some other stuff behind in the future. But yeah, so we'll get into this. So this is essentially two modding fails that I've experienced in the past. Possibly we'll go back as far as saying a couple of years ago. I doubt it'd be 3 years ago, but we'll say like 2+, easily 2+. And I know the first one that I'm gonna mention is easily like between 2 and 3 years. But yeah, so we'll start off by saying GTA. So as you can see, I'm playing GTA right now. But this is going back a long time ago. So doing GTA lobbies was not a thing. I mean, there were like money drop, like you did know that it existed, but it wasn't like a thing that people did. It was more like recoveries and such that people did. It was like that was the thing that was going on around like that time. So GTA recovery. So the GTA recovery method back then was different to how it is now. I mean, technically it's the same thing. Everything goes into it the same as it does now. But the only difference is it was a lot longer and time consuming back then than it is to now. I believe back then the person who was basically making all the mods and doing all the stuff back then was Chromex Mods. He was probably #1 in the scene back then. I mean, he's still quite high up now, but he's a different guy now. He does different things, but he was the guy to go to, in terms of menus and such. So, and also there were menus back then, but they was different to how it is now. How they used to work was, I remember when Chromex Mods released the any account recovery menu, which meant that you could just sign into a gamer tag and you could just do a recovery within minutes, or a couple of minutes instead of 35 to 40 minutes, whatever. But yeah, so I'll explain it and you'll understand what I'm talking about. So the GTA recovery method back then would be a fairly long and time consuming sort of process. So the first thing you'd have to do is make sure that the money in the account and the rank in the account are actually, when I say the rank, I mean like the RP and the the money. When you press D-pad down, you'll see on the multiplayer it comes down with it tells you the money you've got in the bank or just in cash. But essentially how it works is you had to make sure that the money was like a random number, not like, for example, not like $3,000. You needed to have the number like 18795. You know, something really like random, and make sure there's like not like two zeros in the middle, because it did make a big difference when like you was going through another process that you needed to like in the recovery. So that was the first step. So you had to do that. Make sure the money was like, alright, everything's good. So the next thing you had to do was make a dump. So, sounds funny. I'm not talking about going to the toilet, you know. You had to make a memory dump. You had to get a memory dump from the console. So to do that, you'd open a tool. It was, I believe at the time, it still worked now, but it was Peek and Poke. So I think it was Peek Poker version 3 or something like that. You had to open that tool. You had to get this memory dump from the console. That'd take about 10 to 15 minutes. Usually it wouldn't take longer than that. But you'd have to make sure you're not playing at the time. You'd have to just sit there like AFK, like in the car or whatever. Make sure you didn't die. You know, it was like you had to be like proper like on it and just sitting in the car. If you got disconnected from Xbox Live, that could be bad. You know, maybe you'd have to do it again. There's so many things that came into it, but you had to just sit there in the car and do nothing, or just sit there on foot and do nothing. So after that, after the dump was done, the first dump, because there are more that you had to do after that. Once the first one's done, the next step would be you'd have to get like a load of kills, or you have to get your money like essentially up. So you'd have to, you know, go and rob a store, and also make sure that once you've robbed the store, or whatever, get some money, make sure that there's no zeros in between that. So you'd get another random number, but higher than what you had before. So you could get like, 20,000 and 124, something like random. Once you got that, you do another dump. So you get... By the way, this is the second dump, just thought I'd mention. So you'd get the second dump, and that'd take about 10-15 minutes, it'd be about 10-15 minutes to do one dump. So second dump's done, everything's good. Then what you'd have to do is, you'd essentially have to sieve through it. So what I mean by that is, you'd be searching the two dumps, like you'd be comparing the two dumps side by side, and you'd look through them and try and see, if essentially those two numbers, the one that I just made up at the start and the one that I just made up then, I think I did like 18,000 and like 20,000, you'd have to like sieve through them to see like what one of them did a certain thing, and you have to like compare them. I don't know how to describe what you're doing, but you're like searching through them to make sure that they're like the same thing, essentially. But yeah, I don't know how to describe what it is. There's like an action that you're doing, but I don't know how to describe it. But essentially, you're like searching through it to do a certain thing. And you'd have to get the offsets. So you'd have to make sure that the offsets matched between the two. So once you've done that, you'd have to like manually test them. So like one by one. So you'd get like, let's say you got like 200 offsets, and you was like, I don't know what one's what. So you had to sort of compare the two like different offsets, and eventually you get down to like 10 or so, and then you just manually essentially poke those offsets into the game. So like you'd set this random offset to like 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever, and if you got the right offset, it would give you that amount of money. So it'd be like, then you'd get that offset for that account, because back then the offsets were different for every account. So it was like, if you set money for one account, it wouldn't work for the next account, if that makes sense. So hopefully you're with me at this point, but maybe you won't be with me. Maybe I lost you when I didn't know what the term was a bit ago. But essentially, it was really, really, really time consuming. So it'd take like 45 minutes to do one recovery for one account on GTA. So it was really, really time consuming. It was long. It wasn't difficult because it was quite easy to do once you knew it, but it was long. It was like all that time, and maybe it'd work, maybe it wouldn't. So this is where it gets to the point where it's a fail. For me, I did it for this one guy. He gave me, at the time, I think it was like $30 for just this account. And I was doing it. I was doing the whole thing. It went wrong. It didn't work. Every time it froze. Every time I did it, it went wrong. I'd done it before previously, and I did it after for people, and it worked fine. It was just this kid's account. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't let me do it. I probably tried it a good 3 times. When I say a good 3 times, I mean I wasn't just doing it like I wasn't doing the 2 dumps and that was it. I did like 6 dumps, you know, on this kid's account, like different stages, turn my Xbox off, reset it, all these different things. It just would not work. Every time I tried it, it just froze. It didn't work. So I had to give this guy his money back because obviously I'm not I'm not a Mong. I don't keep people's money. You know, I know there's a lot of scummy people in the scene right now, and there's scammers about. I definitely didn't keep the guy's money. I definitely gave him the money back. It was all good. It was just really annoying because it was like, it wasn't about the work. It was like I had this money, and then I didn't because I couldn't do it. It was like the worst in the world. But yeah, so I think I must have given him like rank, but it was like the money that didn't work. So I think we came to like an arrangement where, like, I kept like $5 or something, you know. It was like a really small amount of money, but yeah. So that was fail number 1. I've got a similar. When I say similar, I mean sort of. Yeah, it's sort of the same, but not really. Different game, different problem. So this is probably about. This is a bonus one as well. This isn't like a full-on story because this is quite short, and I'll probably be over this story in few minutes. But essentially this is BO2. So BO2 was never my game. It never has been. I think it's a terrible game. It's not that good. Mods are okay on it. Mods, when the GSC stuff came out for BO2, I quite enjoyed that. But if the GSC stuff wasn't on the game, I don't think I'd play it ever again. You know, like if they patched it tomorrow, I'd never play BO2 again. Some trick shot stuff on BO2 is alright, but that's it. That's just my opinion. You know, a lot of the new people who came to like Xbox and that and PS3 and that when BO2 came out, people liked it, but maybe it's because I was before that. I don't know. I just don't like BO2. But essentially, it's probably about 2 years ago, a guy came to me. He was like, "Can you do a recovery for BO2?" Me never done that before. I'm like, all right, yeah, sure. I just need to find a program that allow me to do that. So I found a program. What was the tool? I forgot what the tool was. But essentially, I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll do it. The guy sends me money. It was $5, I think. I think it was about $5. Guy sends me the money, and everything's going great. I sign into this guy's gamer tag. Everything's going fine. On this guy's account, going through all the mod stuff, and I get to a point and I'm like, obviously I need to go into private match. I need to start the game and then end the game, start the game, end the game, everything's good. So I sign out and I'm like, yeah, it's done, you can come on it, everything's good. He signs into the gamer tag and he sends me a message on Skype, and it's like, he says like something's wrong with the account. And so he goes through all these things. He sends me a couple of screenshots, and he sends me this thing, and it's like there's like an error that comes up every time he tries to do something on the account, like on BO2. And I can't tell you what the error was. I don't really remember it off the top of my head, but it kept giving him an error, and it was like a problem has occurred, whatever, a couple of numbers, you know, error code, whatever. And I'm like, all right, let me see what happens when I do it. So I sign into his account. Everything's broken for me as well. So I thought like, it's a bit weird. It turns out I'd corrupted his account on BO2 because the way that the unlock all used to work in a lot of the tools a long time ago, they didn't used to work good. They didn't used to work properly, and they'd always corrupt people's accounts. But I'd done it wrong because like there was a special way that you had to do it, and I'd done it the wrong way, and it meant I broke his account. So his account was basically broken. It was like fried on BO2. It was all good on every other game. It was just BO2, and it just broke. His account just broke. Like, I don't know how to describe. It was like if you went onto a multiplayer game online, it'd give you that error. All of his classes were like almost like frozen classes on MW2. There was like all of his classes were just nothing and like checkerboarded. if you went into private match, like the pre-game private match, it would just do the same thing. It'd give you the error and kick you back to, like, not the main menu, but like the bit where you can go Xbox Live, split screen, and System Link, and like the options bit. It just kick you back to there. Every time you went onto Xbox Live, you wait like 5-10 seconds, it just kick you off. It was like, it was just broken. His account was just totally ruined. So I didn't really know what to do. So basically what I did was I deranked him. It didn't work. It just went back to being corrupted again. Eventually, I fixed it and didn't give him unlock all. I fixed his account. I forgot what I did, but I fixed it. I must have like reset him a couple of times, you know, messed with the account for a bit, and eventually I got it to where it was deranked. It was just level 1, and I said I can't do you unlock all because I noticed it was the unlock all that had done it. The unlock all broke the account. It just corrupted the account. I don't know why, but I just did it wrong, you know. And that was, I remember like doing recoveries after that and making sure that I wasn't, you know, I wasn't messing with the unlock all because the unlock all just didn't work properly. But yeah, so eventually I fixed it. Everything was good. He didn't have unlock all. He didn't have the diamond camos. It was just level whatever it was and rank whatever he was and the custom stats and whatever. Just all of that stuff. It just wasn't unlock all. So yeah. So that's really it. I know a bit of a weird video. I just sort of wanted to put this one out there because it was a bit different, a bit of a different thing. So yeah, so maybe you might enjoy this, maybe you won't. Maybe I was rambling a bit too much. Maybe people always moan at me when I say and a lot, which is just how I am. I say it real life, you know, like it's just type of person I am, you know. I do sort of forget what I'm gonna say, you know. It's like that sort of thing. But yeah, so thanks for watching Moxification, and I will see you in the next one. Yeah, goodbye.